All right, guys, now we're going to get to the meat of this assignment, the meat and potatoes of this assignment, which is to actually record about 50 something transactions, 60 if you count the payments to the loan, if I'm not mistaken. But, so the way I recommend that you approach this transaction is to, well, let me start by saying you got to record all of your transactions that are on this spreadsheet. So you can see that there are some checks, some loan payments, some invoices, some bills, some payments that you receive, some transfers, etc. Credit card payments, you receive credit card statements, and then you gotta recognize that. So all of this prompts a particular action. I'm not sure why this is red, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. My suggestion is that you go category by category so you can better learn what's happening, right? So in this case, there is an explanation that is still pretty true regarding how to record bills. And so it's very detailed as to how you activate the new vendors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Select the vendor if you have to add a vendor. But for now, you have the vendors already created, so you don't have to recreate them. You're gonna do the mailing address entrance, which you've already done. Bill date, due date, that's all gonna come in. So the way this works is for each one of these transactions, there's a related spreadsheet associated with that. For example, this bill, B111, if you click on that link, it's gonna show you the bill. So if you zoom out, you're gonna see that you are the customer here and you are getting sold coconut and glazed donuts that you're reselling from Winco, right? So then you got to pay for these. And I'm glad that I'm doing this video because there's a few elements that I want you to consider. Number one, these are items that you're reselling. You have a quantity unit price that is being resold. Remember, these are products that you created for resale. And because of that, they have to be inventoried and they have to be recorded specifically in a way that's kind of hidden in QuickBooks. I don't like the way this is done, but it's done this way. So let's go ahead and take this example. Number one, let me go back to the transactions right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter all of these by category. And yes, I'm going to say don't show this. As I do these transactions to make sure that I've recorded them, I'm going to put an X once I'm done. Ideally, you would want to print the entire spreadsheet so that you can have a paper document to look at. And so that is my suggestion to you once you do this. But let me do this electronically since you're all online. So number one, we got to do a new bill coming from Winco. So, and by the way, Winco is on Temperance Avenue. Okay, so that's great. Let me go to my QuickBooks. I'm going to do new bill. And so the bill is coming from Winco. And the terms are going to be due on 4/4/23. So this date is 3/5/2023. And then this is going to be due on 4/4. So that's 4/2023. The bill number, so notice the details are important here. There's no permit number required. Notice that by default, all the expenses come with category details because we're categorizing expenses as we use QuickBooks. But when we buy inventoriable items, meaning items that we're going to resell, we have to make sure that we use the item details section. Notice that I had to click on that triangle. It's super hidden. It's kind of annoying not to see it that way, but this is super important, right? Because now you're able to look at the products and services that you created in the past. So this is a DV coconut, and now I can look at the quantity, which is 80. You're paying $1 for those, right? And you're selling them for $2. And then you're gonna see the glazed. So apparently we buy for resale. We don't do any, and these are 70 of these. So a total of 150 donuts are gonna be sent to us. And if I did this properly, I'm gonna have a shipping expense. So the shipping here is not an item, but it's a category expense. And since we created our shipping account for cost of goods sold, this is not an income account, this is not revenue, this is not just postage, this is specifically that cost of goods sold shipping account that we just created in the previous step. So what is that amount? It's $50. And the reason why we want to do this again is so that we can separate the shipping that's related to our cost of goods sold. So when we're looking at pricing of items, we can determine whether we're making enough of a margin for the price that we're charging, and we can get the true cost in the future. So this should be a $200 amount, and that's it. We're gonna save. We're not gonna schedule the payment because that activates a payment feature for QuickBooks. We're just gonna save and close or save and new, and then we go on to the next. Which the next one, I can go back to my transactions. I'm gonna put a next here to say I've done this, and then I'm gonna go to the next bill, which is bill number 2, and I start all over again. This is from Bob's Burgers, right? So I'm buying from Bob's Burgers, and I don't have that.